Welcome back to the campus here at the Apartment Academy, the multifamily industry's only operations-focused podcast and your Institute of Higher NOI. I'm your host, the Dean of the Apartment Academy, Daniel Cunningham, and today's guest is Bobbi Steward. Bobbi is founder and CEO of Revyse, which is really coming in and providing a service that I think both vendors and buyers in the industry alike are going to appreciate. And if you have been trying to find a better way to source software for your operations and in a way that you can easily get information on kind of competitors, etc., this is the lecture for you. You are in the right lecture hall today. Here it comes. Here is Professor Steward. Professor Steward, welcome here to the stately halls of the digitally ivy-covered Apartment Academy. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Daniel. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, our pleasure, and love to be early on with new companies that are coming out of the gate doing new and exciting things in multifamily. So we're going to talk about that today, a little bit, some of the things that you were doing and some things you're about to do that as of this recording haven't happened yet, but when we will launch this, we can talk about. But let's start with your background, Bobbi. Where did you come from? Are you dyed in the wool multifamily person?
You know, I feel like my story is really similar to so many others that I talk to. I stumbled upon the multifamily industry, not having understood or known anything about it prior. But actually, this month marks the start of my 10th year in the industry. So I've been in multifamily for 10 years. Actually started out on the vendor side, working for a company called G5, which is now a RealPage company, and worked in managed services and product development for quite a while, I think 5.5 years, before jumping over to Realtor.com and trying my hand in the ILS world, leading consumer and B2B marketing for that company. And then I had what I call my big break, where I actually got to go and work on the operator side of the industry. And I always joke that I learned very quickly that everything I thought I knew about the industry was completely wrong once you're actually in the trenches. So had 2 wonderful years at a large operator as a senior executive in marketing and customer experience.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting point. It's one of the things that we used to, I have another hat I wear when I'm not here, the dean of the Apartment Academy, where I run a software company called Leonardo 24/7. And one of the things we used to say, or still do actually from time to time, is that I came from the industry as well. I came from an asset management side, and then I ran a property management company. And the insights you get from being on that side made us, I think, a better product than some of the other competitors who just were like, hey, we got this great idea and we think it applies to multifamily. That institutional knowledge that you garnered while you were at BH is, I'm sure, very informative for whatever the things we're going to talk about you're launching now.
Definitely. And it's so much deeper and so much broader than you realize when you start out on the vendor side. Managing people's homes is intense and it's heavy at times. But the teams that do it day in and day out are absolutely incredible. So I'm super excited to still be in the industry building tools to help make their jobs easier.
Well, let's talk about the leap. What tool did you choose to build? At least initially, you had an aha moment. You said, I need to do this because... why?
Yes. And you know what? It was a little bit self-serving, to be honest, because in my role on the operator side, I had encountered this problem over and over dozens of times where I would need to onboard a new technology, and it would take me and my team so much time just to understand what our options were. Who are the vendors who play in this category? What are the products that actually integrate with my tech stack? Who's in my ballpark pricing range? What can I afford? And we would spend so much time just scouring the internet or calling up our friends, trying to figure out what our options were. And once we could figure out our options, it would take us, months to get through discovery call, demo call, before we would actually get transparent pricing from a vendor. And at that point, it potentially was out of reach or the feature set wasn't compatible. And so we would spend months going through this discovery process, trying to find vendors. And, over the years of COVID, we onboarded so many new technologies, everything from, maintenance tech to rent reporting, alternative insurance and deposit programs, flexible rent payments, virtual touring, self-guided touring, right? It was coming at us fast and furious. But the trudgery of trying to figure out what tools were out there and which new innovative solutions fit our business model was so hard. So that was the problem I would bring home every night and complain about to my partner, who happened to be on the vendor side of the industry, trying to sell these new innovative technologies. So he and I would banter back and forth and say, how can we make this process easier and reduce friction so that operators are getting the tech and tools they need in a frictionless way, right? We are innovating the resident experience and offering these virtual ways for renters to find and get matched to an apartment. Can't we do the same thing with operators and innovative products? So that's where the idea of the Revyse Discovery Marketplace and vendor review platform came from.
Excellent. I mean, certainly a need, like coming from the vendor side, I can attest that it's painful, right, to not just to source potential clients, but to get them familiar with the product. So if you can facilitate that, I'm sure the world's beating a path to your door. So tell me about the approach a little bit. So what does the Revyse platform actually do for the two parties, the vendors and the clients that use it?
Yes, it modernizes the sales process. So not only is it difficult to find and discover new tech, but also the way that we have historically approached the go-to-market and sales process on the vendor side has been, the classic Salesforce, HubSpot, B2B model, where you market with content, you gate your downloads, you have an MQL, or you pass it to an SDR who cold calls, and then you wait for a discovery call. That sales process is a little bit outdated now. As consumers, even B2B buyers, we have been trained according to the Amazon model, where we want to do discovery on our own time. If I'm flipping through my phone in the evening on the couch and I think, oh, hey, at work today we were talking about onboarding a new X, Y, and Z tech, I want to be able to go and start researching online and find solutions on my own time and be able to shop transparently. So Revyse is centered around the idea of self-guided buying. So every vendor, every product can have a listing on the platform, and we've categorized the listings in a way that makes sense to buyers. So it's not categorizing vendors, it's categorizing the individual products that they sell that solve a need on the operator side. And the operators can go and shop the listings and view information about those products, even down to integration partners, pricing, case studies, white papers, videos. And one of our packages, we offer self-guided demo software. So if a vendor chooses, they can actually put a digital demo of the product on the platform so that an operator can demo on their own time.
Cool. Contrast that approach to the Capterra G2 model, which is really the closest thing I think that's out there to what you're talking about.
It is. It's very close. And it's interesting because we did a lot of research prior to launching the platform. And coming from the software and tech world, I was really familiar with G2. We surveyed dozens of multifamily operators and decision makers. And I think we only ran into one or two people who knew what G2 and Capterra were. So it really just isn't used in this industry because we're a little bit of a special butterfly, right? We have a very different structure of portfolio to location to unit, where we're buying software not just at the corporate level, but traditionally at the location level. So each location is building its own tech stack. And the categories that we use are very unique to multifamily, right? We are not out there buying Salesforce or HubSpot. We're buying Knock or Yardi Flex CRM or Funnel, right? The softwares designed for multifamily are independent and unique to this industry. So the platforms like G2, which are incredible for shopping, Slack or Gong or Microsoft, they just don't work the same for multifamily.
Maybe this is not a fair question to ask, but because I don't know and I'm in the business, but is that unique to multifamily? Are there other verticals where there's an entire ecosystem of software that's really just created for that vertical? Do you see that? Or do enterprise players cover most other industries and they just haven't gotten hold in multifamily?
There are a few verticals where a vertical specific application really makes sense. One of those is the real estate industry, because multifamily operates more like an enterprise purchase than an SMB purchase, where operators are buying software at very high contract values, up into the millions. So although operators, individual rooftops across the country, it's more of a franchise type model, you would say. And that is similar in automotive, actually. So the automotive industry shares a lot of similarities with multifamily, where there are dealerships and OEMs who have individual rooftops across the country. So it's a little bit of a similar model. And interestingly enough, there are some vendors in multifamily who also play across automotive because they understand the distribution works similarly.
All right, so you created the company, you launched officially when?
We launched in early June, so just a few months ago.
And how has the reception been? Tell us about how many people are on the platform now, vendors.
It has been mind-blowing. And I was anticipating that the industry would embrace this, primarily just because I knew from being on both sides that it was a shared pain point. So we knew that the industry was going to be interested in what we were doing. But it's been remarkable at how widely it has been adopted. So today we have about 150,000 page views in just a few short months, which is incredible when you think about the size of the industry. And we also have users who have created verified buyer accounts representing well over 3 million units who are shopping the platform. So it's been amazing to see how quickly the industry's embraced it.
That sounds great. That's wonderful. And is there a sense, do you know, have deals been done as a result of the Revyse platform yet? Do you have any good success stories to share?
Yeah, they are, which is amazing. One of our core value props is that we are not here to be a middleman or own the data. So we are passing through conversations directly between buyers and sellers of technology. So when a buyer comes to the platform and they submit a contact form, it doesn't go to us, it goes directly to the vendor. We've had several vendors call us or email us celebrating, saying, oh my gosh, we just landed this deal and it took us 3 days to close. Because the operator had already shopped our listing, they were familiar with the product, they saw our pricing, and they wanted to close right away. Like, speed was a factor. They didn't want to mess around with sales calls. They were looking for something, they found us, and they bought it, which has been so amazing to see.
Cool. All right, why don't you give some tips for vendors that are listening to this podcast? How can they maximize their listing on Revyse, and then tips for buyers. How do they maximize their time to find what they're looking for?
Definitely. For vendors, what we are finding is that multifamily operators want to see user reviews. Peer feedback is so powerful. So users are able to post reviews on every product listing on the Revyse platform. Our internal team verifies and audits those reviews, makes sure that they are authentic before they're published publicly. So every review that's on the platform has been verified. And we're seeing that products that have reviews are getting 4 to 8 times more traffic than listings that don't. So for vendors who are interested in jumping on the platform and maximizing their exposure, reviews are the number one piece of advice that I would give them. And secondly, as we are getting used to this new world of B2B software buying, where buyers want instant access to information, they want to shop on their own time, we have upgraded listings where a vendor can choose to enhance their listing and add self-guided shoppable features to make their listing more transparent and more appealing. So upgraded listings can include case studies, videos. You can highlight integrations that you offer. You can even add transparent pricing. Transparent pricing, all of those additional features are actually shown only to verified buyer accounts. So competitors can't go and view your listing and view that sensitive information to see your secret sauce. So we've built the platform in a way where vendors can be comfortable including this level of transparency without sacrificing their secret sauce. So only verified buyers on the account can view that information.
Cool. And now about the buyer side,
Yeah, from the buyer side, a couple of things. Like the first is start leveraging the platform. Use it to your advantage well before your renewal date is coming up. If you are, if you're using a vendor right now and you have, let's say, an incompatible system, or you need to solve a different business process, or you're going to be shopping, start shopping early, because that is the best way to make sure that you're able to vet solutions, to understand pricing, to negotiate the best deal, and then looking out for verified user reviews to see what peers are saying about these tools and these platforms. You can see if other like-sized portfolios who are integrated with, let's say, Yardi or RealPage, which is your core system, have had a great experience with these tools. It's just additional validation and recognition that there's a potential great partnership there with that vendor.
All right. Now, given all that and the immediate out-of-the-gate success you're having, you have something else up your sleeve, which is your own software stack that you are releasing soon. It will be out by the time this podcast is public. Tell us about that.
Yes. So that is something we're super excited about. And we've been working on this for a while because the vision was always grander, right? Our promise has been to help the industry discover, buy, and manage tech and tools. And so the Revyse Discovery Marketplace has solved for that discover piece. And we really wanted to solve for the buy and manage piece as well, because especially as COVID really accelerated the adoption of tech in the industry, now operators we're innovating at a pace that the industry hasn't seen before, and onboarding so many new technologies that are really enhancing the resident experience, but also causing a little bit of friction for us in how we manage that tech stack. We had chatted earlier about, during COVID times, there was this rapid influx of new technology like virtual touring, self-guided touring, maintenance tech. New things have popped in like rent reporting, flexible insurance and deposit programs, flexible rent payments. And so operators now have access to all of these tools and are taking advantage of them. But it's created such a spread in the tech stack that it's now really difficult to manage and understand what your tech stack and your technology landscape looks like. And historically, there haven't been tools that have been designed to help the multifamily industry manage the vast technology landscape, because we've always been described as tech laggards. But that is not the case today. So we did a bit of a case study and found that the average operator is using roughly 100 different software apps to run their business today. And those pieces of software or pieces of technology all have their own unique set of locations that they are allocated to. All of these contracts have their own expiration dates, their own terms, and it's getting to be a really significant burden for senior teams to be able to manage the technology landscape in the industry. So the product that we're releasing is called Revyse Stack Intelligence, and it's really designed to centralize and streamline that roster of tech vendors that are required to operate today's portfolio, giving the operator a unified view of all of their third-party contracts, where they can collect and store vendor details, including legal and risk information, visualize their tech spend by resident lifecycle stage, so they can see, here are the products and vendors that I'm using during the awareness and shopping phase versus these are the technologies that are assisting us during move-in or residency. Here are all of my leasing tech or my application tech. And giving the operators the ability to slice and dice at a department level, a regional level, or even by ownership group, so that there are ways to view the tech stack and manage and understand how to control costs, to recognize opportunities for savings, and eliminating spend where tools or products may have been forgotten, which can be really common during location dispositions, right? I'm selling this property and I forgot that they had a contract with these 36 technology vendors, and I can't even go and find a list of all of those right now. So we're really trying to think through, how do we build a platform that helps the multifamily industry organize and manage the growing tech stack?
And that matrix of software platforms that are deployed across your portfolio, is that a manual sort of entry process, or is it like looking at somebody's computer and looking at all the apps and like, hey, it looks like you're using all these things?
So it's a combination of both, right? Because the spectrum of recurring contracts that operators have today is broad and wide. So everything from corporate IT software, like your Microsoft contract, your Asana or Monday.com project management, you have quarantine or spam filters, you've got email signature tools, you have legal review tools, accounting tools, right? So there's corporate overhead. And then you also have these 100+ software apps that are running your properties today. So the actual implementation and onboarding is an area where we know that it's going to be difficult. And so we've actually built out a professional services arm where our team can take 80% of the onboarding lift off of the operator's shoulders. So we'll do all of the data entry, get all of the contracts in order, organize products and pricing and cadences, and set renewal reminders. And from there, the software works on its own.
Very cool. And what do you suspect people will discover once they've deployed this tool and have looked at their portfolio? What do you think they will come away with?
You know, I think some of the most interesting insights that we have gathered so far in the case studies that we've done are, number one, is an area of opportunity for savings. So we did a case study with an operator, a 6,000 unit operator who was using 98 apps across 48 different vendors. And by mapping out their tech stack, just the act of mapping out their tech stack, they were able to identify 14% savings immediately, just based off of seats they weren't using, or contracts they'd forgotten to cancel, or product overlap, where One group was using this, one group was using this. If they agreed just to use the same tool, they could accomplish the exact same tasks by reducing that burden. In addition, I think it's going to be really interesting for operators to be able to see technology and innovation by department. Because what we have found is that historically, departments who weren't very tech heavy have really accelerated. And so if you look at specifically marketing is now buying more technology products than ever before. Where a lot of those who sit in the marketing seat aren't necessarily used to going through the process of vetting, third-party vendor risk or SOC 2 compliance, or does this vendor store consumer PII? And how do I need to think through my technology selection process in terms of business or legal or IT risk? And so we're hoping to be able to help surface those insights and give operators a tool to be able to work effectively at resourcing those departments that are getting more tech heavy. So you can see across the organization, is ops now buying more tech? Okay, how do we resource ops to be able to support that technology in a more effective way? The distribution of technology support. So
I love everything about it. It sounds like it's going to be a great product. Bobbi, congratulations.
Thank you. We're really excited.
So if people want to reach out and find out more about the new product, where should they go?
So first port of call is revyse.com. It's revyse.com. Or else you can reach out to me, connect with me on LinkedIn, or send me an email, Bobbi@Revyse.
Awesome. Well, Bobbi, I salute you on the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey. It has its ups and its downs, but it is, for me, it's been a voyage of tremendous satisfaction. So I wish the same for you. Thanks for coming on and lecturing here at the Academy today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you for joining us at this week's episode of the Apartment Academy podcast. The Apartment Academy is a production of Leonardo 24/7, the industry's leader in multifamily operations and maintenance software. At Apartment Academy, we realize the hard work that goes into property management and the stress that comes along with it. Leonardo 24/7 takes the guesswork out of your team's day-to-day by providing customized daily guidance on tasks that need to be done, guaranteeing consistent operations across your entire portfolio. To learn more, visit www.leonardo247.com today.